Hey guys, I'm here to review Are You Afraid of the Dark Season 4. This season starts off with a two-parter. It's actually the only two-parter of the series. The Tale of Cutter's Treasure. It's a pirate story. There's two episodes. At the end of episode 1, there's a rainstorm that prevents the kids from finishing the story. And so they go on to part 2. I did not think the two-part format really worked for this show. I think one of the most impressive things about Are You Afraid of the Dark is how the writers are able to just do everything so concisely, have foreshadowing and character development and conclusions and denouements in such a short amount of time. It's really an interesting way to see how people write, see how stories are told, just to see how compact and concisely everything is conveyed in the show. I think that's the real strength of the show, and just how quickly and how quickly everything moves along. And in this two-parter, it really did not work. It doesn't help that I'm not like a big fan of pirates. I don't hate pirates. I like the Goonies, but pirates have never really been my thing. I hate R. I hate Matey. I hate Avast and Hoy and all that stuff. I hate it when people do pirate voices. I hate like when people talk about pirates and ninjas and just all that bullshit. It's not really my thing. This episode's basically about Max and Russ. Russ is Max's older brother. Their parents go away on a trip. Russ wants to get laid, not get laid. I hope not, but because they're pretty young. But he's trying to hook up with this girl and kiss this girl, and his brother keeps annoying him, and he's kind of a big dick to his brother. None of the characters in this episode were all that likable. I didn't really love either of the actors, but the big gimmick of this is it's Frank and Gary telling a story together. And Gary has this reoccurring character of Sardo, guy who owns a magic shop. And Frank has his reoccurring character of Dr. Vink with the I'm not a nutbag, that guy, who's probably the best character in all of the show, in my opinion. But so the big gimmick of this is for the big season premiere of season 4, we're going to have Sardo and Vink meet each other. And so I thought that was pretty cool. That was a cool concept, but just this episode, man, it was not that good. Pirates are not my thing. I want to give you some quotes from the episode. At one point, Russ gets mad at his little brother and he says, "We were a team, and you just got cut." Another point, they're gonna be babysat by this lady called Mrs. Gregory. Mrs. Gregory smells like fish. Well, she's not stinking up my weekend. And at one point, Russ is sitting down on the couch with his sweetheart and he says, "I don't suppose there's any way we could make out." And then he goes in to kiss her. And that was so creepy and just gross, man. He's such a fucking creep in this episode. So basically, Russ goes to Sardo's magic shop to get his brother a magic kit so he'll leave him alone for the weekend. And then there's this treasure chest in there, which Sardo has said if anyone can open it, they get to keep the contents inside. Russ is able to open it because his ancestor was this pirate guy, and now he's the chosen one, destined to defeat Cutter, the evil ghost pirate who's guarding this treasure. It's really lame. I've always hated these Destiny-type storylines. I think it's very... it just takes you out of the story. I think it's very uninclusive for the audience, because as an audience member, you're not a chosen person. You're not special. You want to believe that someone normal can achieve great things. But when it's just, oh yeah, this guy is destined for greatness, and he's this chosen magical person, it kind of makes it hard to relate with this character. One thing I really didn't like about this episode was just the set design and all the props I thought were really lame. At one point, the bad guys kidnap Russ's brother and they leave this yellowed, kind of burnt note on the wall, and it just looks so fake and so created, so cheesy, like yellowy pirate paper. The skeletons all look really lame. All the pirate artifacts, like the dagger and the scope, thought all looked really lame, kind of like an elementary school play, something you'd buy at like a Halloween shop or in a cheesy amusement park. There was one cool effect. At one point, there was a skeleton in a rowboat, and he grew skin and flesh and became a man, and that was a pretty cool effect for this show. But overall, yeah, I did not enjoy this. Not big onto pirates, and the end of the episode I really didn't like. There's this riddle that goes throughout the show. What he wants is not what he desires. Really lame riddle, like really easy and just kind of cheesy, and I really hated the riddle. Basically, at the end, the answer to the riddle is Russ is supposed to kill Cutter with the knife, this magical dagger out of the treasure box. And Cutter's begging him to kill him, and then Russ figures out that, oh, if I kill him, then he'll be released from this torment, which would actually be the nice thing to do, I guess. But no, I'm going to leave him here to haunt this treasure for the rest of eternity. And I didn't like the riddle, and I didn't like it. Had nothing to do with his character, that he wasn't like a homicidal maniac or anything who had to curb his appetite for flesh. So I didn't really love that. Another thing too is the dagger. He's supposed to defeat like all these ghosts with this magical dagger, but since it's a Nickelodeon show, they don't want him going around stabbing people. So he just sort of holds up the dagger, and this like ball of energy pops out and kills them, which I understand why they had to do that, but I still thought it was kind of lame. Yeah. So overall, I really didn't like this two-parter, and I'm gonna give it 1 star. 1 out of 5 bags of magic sand, not a star. But on to episode 3. This is the tale of the Renegade virus. The only thing scary about computers are the people who use them. That's what Frank said at the beginning of this episode. This is an episode about virtual reality and computers and computer viruses, and I think this was like 1993, so it's going to be hilarious and awesome just to see what people thought about computers back then. I really like this episode. It's a Gary story. It features one classic trope of movies that I love. It's the evil virus display. When the virus comes up on the computer, there's a green skull and crossbones, and it flashes with a sign that says, "Warning, warning, warning." I love that. It's so hilarious, because in real life, viruses, like, we wish that would happen. Viruses are so much more insidious than that. Like, it gets in your computer, but you don't know it's there, and it just slowly starts to fuck everything up and make everything slow. That's how a real virus works. But in the movies and in TV shows, it's always this crazy, wacky, graphic display of skull and crossbones that there's a virus there. Basically, this episode is Simon is the main character. He's like this perfect guy who gets all the girls and stuff, and he's kind of picking on his friend Evan. He rides his friend Evan's bike to school, and Evan has to chase after him. He changes Evan's locker combination, so Evan gets to class late. Evan tries to ask out this girl, and Simon's already asked her out, and she's already going out with him. Which, it's crazy how things like that and shows like this, it's never that much of a big deal. Like, Evan just asked this girl out, which for me would be a huge, tormenting deal, especially at his age. And she says, "No, I'm going out with your best friend." And he's not even that upset. He's just like, "Simon this, Simon that. Simon's the best." Yeah, right. That's all he says. Like, I would go home from school sick if that happened to me. Like, I would want to drink a whole bottle of vodka. But anyway, it's just funny how, like, or even in the last episode when Russ's brother Max gets kidnapped, he's just like, "Oh, we have to find my brother." He's not like bummed out at all. Like, I'd be freaking the fuck out if my brother got kidnapped. I mean, I don't know. That's one of the things I loved about the Nev Campbell episode, The Dangerous Soup. Like, she really went for it, and so did that other actor in that episode. But anyways, off on a tangent. So Simon's been screwing with Evan and pissing him off, and they both happen to be friends with this wacky, crazy science teacher. I really like this dude. I liked his performance. I love the set design of his classroom. He has these crazy, like, gears, these, like, 4-pointed star gears grinding in the background for some reason in his computer classroom. It was just awesome to see the set design with all this wacky stuff that has nothing to do with computers in there. But the concept is the crazy science teacher has developed this virtual reality machine. So Simon sits down in it, and within the virtual reality machine, it kind of becomes like Inception at this point, which I thought was really cool. Because when Simon goes into the game, he wakes up and he thinks the entire day was just a dream. But then weird things keep happening, and eventually he meets the virus. And the virus is played by a little person. And I just love this guy. His acting was awesome. The makeup and the costume was awesome. He has this, like, brain sticking out of the top of his head. And he's all painted in silver. He's wearing these 3-fingered gloves, kind of like the Penguin. It looks really creepy when he's typing on the computer, and his just whole performance was awesome. And the virus at this point gives Simon 10 minutes to escape from the game. And at that point, he takes off the headset, so he thinks, oh, the game's over. It's like another Inception moment. First he thought he was dreaming, now he thinks the game has ended, but then all kinds of cool stuff start to happen when the virus is screwing with him. We see people walking backwards through the hallways. He goes to get his bike, and there's a giant padlock on it. I thought that was awesome. I love the design of the giant locker room padlock. Just, that was a cool prop. And he goes into the classroom, and the teacher He's asking people, what's 2 plus 2? And this one girl says 6. And he says, that's correct. 6 minutes left in the game because the virus gave him 10 minutes. I just love all that. And the directing in this episode was really cool, too. There's lots of wacky, like, handheld zooms, lots of Dutch angles, low angles, just really, really cool horror, cheesy, like, horror TV show from the 90s directing, if that makes any sense. But anyway, Simon finds out that Evan is the one who put the virus in the game, and it's Evan's locker combination that's the combination to get him out of the game. And I really liked this episode had complicated characters. Well, complicated for Are You Afraid of the Dark standard. You know, Simon, he's not a bad guy, but everything just comes easy to him. And he was picking on his friend Evan, but that's because Evan put an egg in his shoe. So he was just trying to get him back. And since he's so good at everything, he was great at getting him back, so much better than Evan could have ever got him. And then at the point when Evan finds out the virus is trying to kill Simon, he's worried. He feels bad. It's horror for both of the characters, both for different reasons. And I just really like that. I really like this episode. At the end of the episode, the virus is like, they've supposedly defeated him with the computer code, but then he's hiding in the janitor's trash can. So that didn't even make sense to me. I'm not sure how the virus is still alive or like what's the point behind that. But anyways, it was a really good episode. It's also implied that Tucker put a virus in Gary's computer, but it's never said outright. I thought that was pretty cool, too. So I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 bags of sand. Very good episode. All right, now for the last episode, I'm going to review of the day. This one won't take long. There's not much to say about it. This is the tale of the quiet librarian. This is the Kiki story. At the beginning of the episode, she says this: there is no real silence. Where there's life, there's sound. Take away sound, and you take away life. I thought that was a really cool concept, and just the idea of complete silence. You know, not like the type of silence that a deaf person would hear, but silence where you can hear, but there's just nothing to hear. That would be no life, I suppose, and I thought that was an interesting concept. Basically, this episode's about a library. There's a library, and in it there's this room called the Quiet Reading Room, and it kind of abducts kids and takes away their sound. At the beginning of the episode, a kid is abducted by the room and he goes to scream and it's just silence. And I thought that was a really cool effect, especially for this time period. This episode's about Chase and Lori. They're two characters who get paired together to do a book report or something like that. And it's the classic sort of Han Solo and Princess Leia. You've seen it in a ton of movies and TV shows. A man and a woman who are obviously attracted to each other, but they hate each other and they bicker and they bicker and they bicker until the end they kiss. That type of thing going on. A lot of sexual tension. Well, I don't want to say sexual tension, but make-out tension between these two children. This episode mostly takes place in a library, and it's a very beautiful, like, classical library with big wooden bookshelves and wooden tables. Like, I recently watched Ghostbusters just to get into, the Halloween spirit, and the library in that movie is so beautiful. Like, I want to go visit a beautiful library one of these days. All the libraries I've ever been to in my life have been really lame, like one story with the terrible metal shelves and all that. I want to go see an awesome, like, old school library, I love Lori's hair in this episode. But there's not much to this episode. They go to the library. Jace forgets Lori's notebook in there, so they have to go back at night. The library's closed. They break in. They go to find the notebook, and then they get chased around, haunted by this evil librarian ghost who has this box with a pink light inside of it that sucks up all the sound. That was pretty cool. She takes away Jace's voice. And then he's trying to annoy her by breaking records on the ground. And then every time she points the box at the records, like it sucks up the noise from the crashing and breaking records. I thought that was pretty cool. Another cool moment in this episode is Lori is running away from the evil librarian. And they just have this silent chase, like a very quiet chase. And usually in Are You Afraid of the Dark, when somebody's getting chased around, they have this scary music going on. But here it was just silent, no music. I thought that was really effective. I really liked that. But in the end, they annoy her with some video game that destroys her box somehow. I don't know. I don't really understand how that worked. But they defeat her. End of story. 3 out of 5 bags of magic sand. Nothing much to say about this episode. Average. But I like the actors. I like the concept of silence. I like the library. But once the evil librarian showed up, it got kind of lame. But other than that, it was a decent episode. 3 out of 5 stars. All right, guys. I'll be back soon. Probably tonight. I have to be back tonight because I need to finish this before Halloween. I've been procrastinating ever since October 1st, but I have to finish this because every year I review a season of Are You Afraid of the Dark in October, and I am not going to let myself down. don't really have any fans to let down, but I don't want to let myself down. I'm gonna finish this before Halloween, so I'll see you all again soon. Bye.